Hey, thank you for coming on today, Louise, to answer a few questions about our experience working together. I think it was how many years ago since we started working together? Probably 2 years.
I think it's been two, maybe over two.
Yeah. So yeah, I just want to ask you a few questions today that might help other women who are listening and who are in a current situation in their life where they're thinking about that they might need this work, and maybe your story might inspire them if they can relate to anything that you've experienced or experiencing now. So I'll just start by asking you if you can take me back to how you were feeling before we started working together, if you can remember, because I know it was quite a while ago.
Yeah, it feels like a long time ago now. I've always been somebody that struggled with anxiety, and I think that's where this started. So I really doubted myself. I worried a lot about what other people thought of me. I didn't really have a lot of confidence. And yeah, my anxiety would get in the way of a lot of things, and I'd kind of make it part of my identity and be like, I'm just anxious. I can't really change. Like, it's just how I am. But it feels like a completely different person to who I am now, actually. So yeah, it's interesting to think back on it because it feels like another lifetime ago.
Absolutely, it really does. Like that, those first initial conversations that we had feel like forever ago, and I definitely feel like I'm speaking to a different person, which is, all down to the work that you've committed to as well. So like, what made you decide to start working together?
I just think there was small changes that I could see would make a massive difference. So I can't remember when I started following you, but I found you on Instagram. And there were just lots of little things that I thought I can make some changes in that. And I'd started practicing yoga and meditating on my own, wasn't really finding the benefit of it or kind of doing it for the sake of it rather than really understanding the true benefit of how I would get anything out of it. So I had an app for meditation that was really good, but it ended up being a bit more of like, oh, well, I'll keep meditating because I can get a streak on it. So I've done it 10 days in a row and whatever. And I just wasn't finding much actual meaning and value out of it. So yeah, kind of you reaching out to me, I think I can't remember how we got in touch with each other in the end, but just sort of thinking, oh, there's lots of small changes that I can make that seem really easy and then just stack them from there rather than it be this. I mean, if I look at where I am now compared to 2 years ago, I wouldn't imagine I could be here with like the small steps I've taken. So it was kind of nice to see that I could do little things, chip away at it, that would make a massive difference long term. So yeah, that's what appealed to me mostly.
Yeah, I think most people think that they have to go through some major, like, transformative work that's going to take hours and hours out of their day or out of their life, and they just don't have the capacity for it. But I think that's really reassuring to hear that it really is the small things. And I know that that's so cliche, and we talk about this so often about the small things added up over time create the big change. But I think with this type of work, it's really empowering to know the really small things you can do, because a lot of the time those small actions aren't a physical thing that you need to cut time out of your day. It's actually just a change in the way you're looking at something or a perception switch in your mind as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think, yeah, again, I think I thought I'd have to meditate for an hour a day, or I'd have to do lots of exercise, or like you said, like massive things to overhaul it. And then it was just more, and we spoke about this a lot, of if you can't do 10 minutes, can you do 2 minutes? Can you do 30 seconds? Like, there's nothing, even 3 thoughts when you wake up, there's always something that you can do to make things a little bit better and kind of start your day well or elevate what you're doing. And that made it feel less daunting. And over time, that's kind of built on. But yeah, knowing that I could do all these tiny little changes have made a huge difference long term.
And what I love now is when me and you talk, I feel like your changes. So you're like, oh, I've been feeling a bit like this, but hang on, I know what I need to go back to. And it's like you kind of just have that empowering toolkit yourself to do it.
Yeah, I feel quite self-sufficient about it. Whereas before I'd think, I'm just not going to do that, or it doesn't work, or I don't have time for that. Whereas I think we had a conversation the other day about how I'd gone back to doing, I think I did a 2-minute meditation while I drank my coffee. And it was just a nice reminder of, oh yeah, I can do small things and it makes a world of difference, and reminding myself it doesn't have to be. But I think where I've like built lots of stuff up over the years, it's kind of been, I should walk, I should do this. And then I'm like, no, just go back to go back to basics and other things will fall in line. But yeah, I think you've always been good at kind of bringing me back and me saying, oh, I'm going to do all these things. And then it's actually like, well, what do you need? What time is it going to take you? And are you going to be able to keep it going so that it's valuable? And that's always been really helpful.
Yeah, I mean, some of this has probably been answered in this question, but if you can think of anything else, then feel free to share. But the next question was, what has changed for you since we started this work internally or externally? I suppose it could be either, or it could be both.
Oh gosh, lots. I think I've learned to sort of understand myself a lot better and care less what other people think and worry less about myself. And I feel I'm really good at questioning myself about these things. So if I'm worried about doing something, or I worry I've said something wrong, or I get really anxious about, I shouldn't have said that, I shouldn't have done that. I'm in a position now to challenge myself and sort of think, well, why do I think that way? What's the impact of this? How much of an impact is anybody else is this going to have on? Probably not. It's probably just me stressing out about it and making myself stressed. And probably it's a throwaway comment made, or I've cancelled plans or something, and nobody else has thought about it. So I definitely can bring myself back in, whereas I used to work myself up. So if I'd said cancel plans or something, I'd be constantly telling myself I've let somebody down, I've let myself down. This is really terrible, and I'd get myself in a real spin about it. Whereas now I think, well, I know we did this, what's the worst that could happen? And then I kind of let myself spiral and think, yeah, but none of that happened. So just having that toolkit's been really good. As we've already said, like noticing small changes. So if I can't meditate, if I can't do this, like my kind of go-to at the moment is a walk around the block. So no matter what, go outside, go for a walk, put on a podcast or some music or something, but just go outside and walk. And actually knowing that meditation doesn't have to be sat cross-legged or lying down. I can go and do it while I'm walking or making a cup of tea or something. So knowing that it's practical and I can adapt it has kind of made me stick to my habits, because otherwise if you think, I've got to be sat at this desk, I've got to be doing this, it's too rigid for me. And then in my personal relationships, I've definitely got more understanding of other people. So when I think, why has someone said that? Why have they done that? And actually thinking about, it's not always about me in that sense. It's not like, oh, well, they must feel this way because I've done something. It's probably like, oh, well, they feel like this. And I feel like I'm more emotionally intelligent to understand that as well. So lots has changed, lots of really good stuff. Yeah.
I think even those things are just so empowering for other people. Like, just to summarize a few things you said. So like the catastrophic thinking that obviously leads to anxiety or fear, you feel like you can kind of get more of a hold on that now because you're more self-aware and you're more aware of your thoughts.
Yeah.
You understand what you need when you feel a certain way. That's kind of what I got from what you were saying.
Yeah, definitely.
So empowering. And then finally, you can deal with other people in the world a bit easier and better by taking us out of the equation and getting curious about why they might act a certain way, and that it's not always about us, so that we don't always feel attacked or we feel like it's something that we're doing.
The other thing that's just come to me while we're talking is the letting go of perfectionism as well, and sort of fear of failure. So I've done things at work in the last couple of years that I just would never have put myself out there to do, because I'd be worried they weren't perfect or they wouldn't be well received. And I've put forward a few things at work that didn't go anywhere. And I would have thought initially, oh, I'm never doing that again. What's the point? I failed. Whereas now I think, well, there's good opportunities to learn here. Why did that go wrong? I've had some things at work where I think, well, actually, even acknowledging my failures, but like my potential shortcomings or why things have gone wrong is a really good opportunity to learn and improve. And I've managed a team, and I've sort of said to them, I don't see this as a bad thing if we haven't met objectives or haven't done anything, because it's a reason to explore the why. And I ran a workshop with my team about like time management, and interestingly, perfectionism was a topic that kept coming up, and about procrastination. And I felt really inspired, and I said, oh, I wasn't sure how this workshop was going to land. It was well received. And I sort of said during it, I said, well, should we do a workshop on perfectionism next, and how we can kind of all work on that together? And everyone was really keen on that. So I would never have put myself out there and thought, do you know what, somebody might take something from it. But I went into that workshop with the attitude of, I've enjoyed making this workshop. If nobody takes anything away from it, then at least I've got something out of it. But actually it was much more positively received than I thought. So again, confidence to not doubt myself as well, but letting go of that perfectionism and not thinking, oh, the course isn't right, or I might run out of time, or it might not be enough content. I just thought, I've got to trial it, and if it doesn't work, it's a really good learning opportunity.
And you're like, what a great place to be in, that you have been through your transformation and now you want to share that with other people. And your job in itself actually changed while we were working together, didn't it? Because I think you went for the promotion.
Yeah, I manage a team. I didn't at the time, but I manage a team now. And I think it's interesting. I can use my experience to kind of help other people, which I work in quite a corporate environment, and I never thought that would be the place for it as well. So it's really nice to think, oh, actually, these things really land well, and it's what people need, which is, I was really surprised by that. It's been really positive.
Yeah, everyone needs this work, and it helps in every area of your life. This is kind of what I like, the message that I'm trying to get out is like, if there's anything you want to improve in your life, this is the foundation of where it starts, is our perception first of ourselves and externally. Thank you so much for sharing. The last question was that if another woman was in the same place that you were before we started working together, what would you want her to know about this experience and this journey that she's going to take?
It's really exciting. There's it's quite daunting, but it's really exciting. And if I could talk to myself 2 years ago and tell me where I was going to be now, I just don't think I'd believe how I would have changed. So you are going to change, only for the better, but not to be put off by any setbacks you have. I went through a lot of times where I didn't journal, or I didn't do my good habits and practices. It took a long time to get into the habit of doing them. And now when I stop doing them, I'm kind of so well drilled into thinking about things that I think, oh, do you know what's really good for me, as I go back to these basic things, and I can kind of talk myself into it. So yeah, don't give up on it. Make the little changes, and you'll be really surprised where you are in even just a short amount of time. And I still think I've got lots of room to grow as well. So it's kind of not one and done. And, we've worked together for a couple of years. I kind of think, oh, where's next? What am I going to do next? How am I going to push myself up my comfort zone? So it's kind of a new level of comfort zone I have with all these habits and good practices I have. But I know that there's more. So that's really exciting as well. There's always more to explore on the journey.
Yeah, I think a lot of us like feel stuck in this one place, and then the hardest part is like making that initial step into self-growth. And then when we start to grow, it's like the most addictive feeling. It's like we already have that awareness, like it can't be switched off. It's like, what more can I make better? What more do I want to change? What more do I want to grow? And it's like an impossible switch to turn off once you start.
It definitely feels a bit of a superpower. The one thing I would say is, the more awareness you have, the more patience you have to have with other people and other people that aren't on the journey, because we've had this conversation many times of, they're not there yet, they're not ready for this. And it's the more work I've done on myself, the more frustrated I've sometimes felt that other people haven't done the same work as well. So again, just treat other people with kindness and kind of think that, they're not there yet, they're not on the same journey. And that's why not everyone's on the same level as you. But that's quite a hard bit to master, I found. It's like, well, why don't you think like I do? Because this makes sense now, but not everyone's been there yet.
And hopefully that will drive your passion to continue spreading the word, because that's something that's what you can control. You can't control how other people are, but you can help the people that want to be helped with your own journey.
Definitely. And if people want to be helped and they want to develop and grow, then they will. And I say, I found that in my workplace. I made the assumption no one would be interested. And then there was more demand for workshops and things that I thought I'd probably inspired to do more. So I was never sure that my self-awareness and my personal development would come back into the corporate world, but it really has. So just got to give people the space and let them come to it in their own time. Like I did, my journey probably could have started a lot sooner, but it didn't. So yeah, definitely.
I think it's all about trusting that it's happening at the right time for you. So yes. Even if you're watching this now and you're like, oh no, I'm not ready for that, believe that. Maybe you're not ready for it. Like there will be a time when this work is going to be the perfect timing for you, and you have to trust when it comes around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming today, Louise, and for sharing your story. I'm sure it's going to inspire somebody else watching this. So I really, really appreciate it, and I wish you a beautiful day.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you.